some of these people, especially the agents, they have their own complaints. And in trying to help everyone here, talking about corruption, the question is, why is it that the Customs Service hasn't been able to put some of these, charges on their website? For instance, you have the CIU, the Customs Intelligence Unit, whereby you tell them so many other things. Some would say when they are done paying this X amount for the value of car A, they go out, perhaps maybe on the street, they are stopped by your operators, telling them that they have been, I think they have underpaid. So if you put that on your website, don't you think it will help stem this corruption that a lot of people are talking about within the Customs Service?
I agree very much with you. Putting it on the websites would help to, create and integrate transparency in the system. It's a whole lot of information when you talk about the ex-factory price, but this is one of the plans that we have in implementing the new tariff, the new policy in 2017. A dedicated website would be opened, and then we are going to display all this information. But the truth actually is not that they don't know it. They do. Customs agents know it. Importers also know it. It's always a deliberate attempt to bring down the value of the vehicles so that the duty that will be paid on it will be less. We have authenticated sources where we can get the prices of these vehicles in terms of the ex-factory prices. We source these values, and the challenge is for us, and I can promise you, Nigeria Customs Service, we do that before the year 2017 starts.
Well, in addition to that, part of the complaint that people also have about tariff on vehicles is that they say that for vehicles coming into the country, the tariff regime requires importers to pay 35% duty, 5% VAT, 1% inspection levy, and 7% port charges. And then they go on to say that for new vehicles, the importer will have to pay an additional 35% levy. And then they say that actually that additional 35% levy is not on your website, that it appears as though it's a decision that was taken between the Ministry of Finance and the Customs, and that the actual thing should be between 20 and 30%.
No, this cannot be. There can't be, a decision between Customs and Finance on an issue as sensitive like that. It is straightforward. It's a policy issue. There is a national automotive policy through which the federal government seeks to develop the industry, the sector in Nigeria, so that at least in some few years we can achieve some level of self-sufficiency in production of auto vehicles and auto parts. So it is targeted, it is levied only on new vehicles, and it is 35%. It is there, it can be verified. It is not on the website of the Customs because it is not a charge. It is not a charge that is applied by the Customs. Rather, it is not one of those statutory charges that derives from fiscal policy. It is something that comes out of a different policy of government that seeks to for us to achieve self-sufficiency, in automotive production in Nigeria. It will take some time. It's not something that we can achieve, in 2 years, in 3 years. We started this, after South Africa. South Africa started this about 15 years ago. Now, a good number of the new cars that we ride on Nigerian roads, are imported from South Africa. So this is what government tries to achieve, by putting that tax on new vehicles.
So you can confirm that aside whatever it is you clear on the vehicle at the ports, there is also an extra 35% that is not exactly on your website. Is that what you're confirming to us this morning?
The 35% surcharge on new vehicles goes to a particular subhead. It goes to a particular subhead that is dedicated to the production, for development of the automotive industries. I've explained it. It is not on Nigerian customs. It's not amongst the list of revenue that goes into the Federation accounts, because there is a dedicated account for it, and that is the National Automotive Council account. And it is only on new vehicles, not on any vehicles that is imported into Nigeria.
Well, there's definitely the market for new vehicles, and I'm sure that even those people right now will be groaning and perhaps not importing as much as they used to in previous times. But if you can give us a comparative analysis, because some of our viewers are tweeting here, between the cost of importing directly from Nigerian ports, because one will wonder, why is it that Nigerians will not want to use, say, the Apapa port or the Port Harcourt port, or will not want to use the Calabar port, but will instead prefer to go all the way to Cotonou? There are definitely very serious questions to be asked in terms of what is the major difference, or how major can the difference be in terms of the cost of importing from Nigeria, or importing into Nigeria from the port, than importing from Benin Republic. What can you tell us is a major difference?
Sincerely, I wouldn't know what the difference is, because as far as we know, the charges are the same, at least the statutory charges. The revenue, the customs duty on the vehicles are the same at the ports and at the border. What is different, like I've explained earlier, is the fact that when you import from the borders, and you get, when you import through the neighboring ports and you get to the borders and you are not willing to pay the duty, you want to, talk to customs officials, you want to negotiate, you want to, go around the bush and smuggle the vehicles into Nigeria. The landing costs will always be different when this happens. One of the issues we had with Benin Republic was that when you are handing over vehicles to us, let there be the 17-digit chassis number, so that looking at the system, we already know the year of manufacture when we see the chassis number. But we don't have compliance in this. Importers who bring them through the borders, we don't have compliance with them. And this is why you find that most of the vehicles, the new vehicles that we seize, that are in our warehouses all over the countries, are new vehicles that are imported through the borders. It's all about compliance. There is the mechanism to enforce compliance in the seaports, a higher level of mechanism in the seaports than in the land borders. So in the land borders, they have a number of options. Corruption could be one of them. Some of them go, outrightly. They smuggle the vehicles and they bring they put them on Nigerian, in the dealer markets to sell. So this is the difference, basically.
Mr. Denny, my point is Nigeria has a seaport, Benin Republic also has a seaport, but people prefer to use the seaport in Benin Republic because perhaps they find it far cheaper than using the Nigerian ports. Why do you think that is so? Because one would think that we have the volume here. Shouldn't we be making use of the volume of Nigerians who will want to use our ports? Shouldn't that bring down the rates?
Unfortunately, we cannot talk about volume and rates. The rate of duty is the same, whether the volume is 2 or 3, whether the volume is low or high. The charges might be different. In Benin Republic, when importers go to Benin Republic, the major difference between those cars that are brought there and that come to Nigeria is about smuggling. Duties are not paid on vehicles that are brought through the borders. There is no way you will bring those vehicles through the border, pay the correct duty, and you still sell them cheaply. It does not make economic sense. Ab initio, people who go there, at least 90% of the people who go there, go with the intention to smuggle the vehicles and avoid payment of duty, period. Some of them, we catch them, they are in our warehouses.
I think you're misunderstanding my question. If I may comment, I hate to interrupt your answer, but What I'm saying is that let us discountenance the border right now, because what you're saying is that you don't see the reason for Nigerians to go through Benin Republic because you already have a land border and the rates will still be the same anyway if you're bringing it from the Nigerian ports. But the question I'm asking is, they're coming in through the ports. Benin Republic doesn't manufacture vehicles. These vehicles are imported from other countries into Benin Republic. Why do they find it easier to use the ports in Benin Republic than use the ports in Nigeria?
Well, customs did not, at least as at in the last 5-10 years, the watchword has always been trade facilitation. Allow them to bring them in through whichever channel, whichever point of entry. Over the years, we've had complaints about charges in our ports. Over the years, we've had complaints about access roads. Over the years, we had complaints about processes that are cumbersome. They all speak to the issue of our ports being friendly, or neighboring ports being more friendly, user-friendly than ours. These are issues that are attracting the attention of various levels of authorities in government, the federal government, the terminal operators, the customs authorities itself. We are doing the best we can as customs, but like I've always said, it's a chain. And if you achieve progress in one part of the chain, and there are problems in the other parts of the chain, you are still back to square one. We talked about 24-hour service at a time. Customs, started the lead by, putting our officers in rosters. We didn't have the same kind of support from banks who said they are not safe to operate banking services in the nights. We didn't have the same level of support from terminal operators. They also complained about security. We didn't have the same level of support from truck owners who says it is dangerous to drive their vehicles through the bad roads in the day. It will even be more dangerous for them to negotiate all those bad spots in the night. So it's a collective problem. It's a community, and we have to approach it as a community. It's not a one single agent issue.